Welcome back to NFL Talking Points. My name is Joseph Gardner. I am your host, and my goal is to get you the statistics that you need to be able to talk to your friends and family, giving you lots of charts, numbers, so you can make your own opinions on the game. I will also give my opinion, but, that's just as a fan of watching football. And hopefully, eventually, we'll be able to get a few other people on here to talk, so that it's more of a conversation. That said, this week we're going over week 4. We're just recapping all of the games that happened between Thursday all the way to Monday night, the doubleheader on Monday night. To start, let's start with the Seahawks and the Cardinals. Before I get started, really quick, if you are watching on or listening on the audio and are not watching on YouTube, I will be posting graphs for every single game. This is something that I'm changing a little bit so that I can give people a little bit more visual of the charts and graphs and things that I'm seeing that give me these numbers. And I thought it would be really fun to show those on YouTube. I will be explaining them in the audio so that you guys can kind of get an idea of what they are, but it might be easier to see if you look at the YouTube, so check that out. That said, Seahawks, Cardinals. This was kind of a crazy game, actually. Funny story. The Seahawks, they dominated most of the game. By second half, by the end of the second half, it was 14-3. And at that point, I was like, okay, this feels like a blowout. This doesn't feel like a game even worth finishing. So I went and played some basketball. I came back after basketball to just kind of see what was going on in the game. And when I came back, it was tied 20-20. And I'm like, what is going on? So that said, Seahawks win, beat the Cardinals on a walk-off field goal, winning 23-20. There was a big comeback at the end, but I would say that for the most part, you got to say that the Seahawks were the much better team. The score didn't really reflect what this game actually was. That said, the stat that I wanted to show, and I'll just put this on the screen for you here, Jaxson Smith-Njigba is absolutely nuts. He's ran 98 routes and had 33 targets. He is getting 4.1 yards per route. If you look at the last 20 seasons for wide receivers, in the first 4 weeks, Jaxson Smith-Njigba is 4th in yards per route run in the last 20 years within the first 4 weeks. And we'll get to another name that's in this on this chart. I'm sure you can kind of see who that is. But yeah, Jaxson Smith-Njigba, 4.1 yards per route run. It is absolutely insane. And in the first half, the Cardinals were, triple teaming Jaxson Smith-Njigba, and still by the second half, look, he's gonna get the ball, he's gonna get yards, and Sam Darnold's looking awesome. Anyway, this chart just kind of blew my mind a little bit. Last 20 seasons, in the first 4 weeks of the season, Jaxson Smith-Njigba above people like Julio Jones, Nico Collins, Mike Evans, Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill. These are big names that just anyway, it's just kind of nuts to me. Steve Smith, there's so many names underneath here that I'm just like, how sustainable is this? I don't know. It is crazy though. 4th in the last 20 seasons. Nuts. Next, we move on to the Ravens and the Chiefs. The Chiefs looked so much better with Xavier Worthy. The Chiefs ended up pounding the Ravens 37-20. This never looked close. The Chiefs looked like their old Chiefs self. They looked so good on offense, defense, every part of the game. A few things that I want to point out with this game, though. The Ravens are missing 7 of their 11 starters on defense. So, I heard someone say that they are the 49ers of the AFC. They just have so many injuries. And it kind of goes hidden how many injuries they have. And it's it's absolutely nuts. And they had even more injuries in this game. Adambike went out with a neck injury. It looks like he's out for the season. Roquan Smith went out with a hamstring injury. He's going to be out for a few weeks. Marlon Humphrey is out with a calf for a few weeks. Lamar Jackson came out of this game with a hamstring injury. We don't know how long he's going to be out. They're saying like he's questionable for the coming week, but typically with a hamstring like that, you're not playing for a week or two at least. It just, holy, this Ravens team is just ravaged by injuries, and it looked really bad. Looking back at the numbers, you'd think, wow, this wasn't even close. Looking back at the score, it's not close. But if you look at the net success rate, and I'm going to put this up on the board here, on the screen here for you guys to see, you'll see that the Ravens actually had a higher net success rate than the Chiefs. The Chiefs in net success rate were about a minus, 0.5, -1, somewhere in there. And yet the score was 37-20, and I don't know. Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, something's going on there. Looking at it from just a personal visual angle, looking at this game, watching this game, it didn't even feel close. It felt like the Ravens were in mud the entire game, and yet the numbers say that they were doing decent. And so I've got to look more into that. That said, both of these teams are two teams going in very different directions. The Chiefs are just starting to get momentum. They're on the up and up. Xavier Worthy is a game changer. He completely changes that offense. And when Rashid Rice comes back in week 7, this team is going to be dangerous. They are already playing very well on offense, and Mahomes doesn't even have his number one wide receiver on the field. So, two completely different directions these teams are going. Can this Ravens team still make the playoffs starting 1-3, and with so many injuries? Lamar Jackson is going to be injured. My guess is that's still definitely a possibility, because if you look at the other NFC North teams, specifically the quarterbacks, you've got Jake Browning, you've got a 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers, and what looks like a rookie quarterback in Dylan Gabriel, who's going to be making his first start in the NFL. It seems like this Ravens team could still have a chance at making the playoffs. That said, they're not looking good, and their defense has been really bad. Again, just ravaged with injury, but you're not going to go very far in this league with the way that they're playing. Next, we've got the Rams at the Colts. Well, it's actually at the Rams. Colts at the Rams. Colts traveled to SoFi Stadium. Man, I thought that the Colts completely outplayed this Rams team. The Colts had 3 turnovers on offense, and that just it's not. You don't win games that way. One of the turnovers was A.D. Mitchell, the wide receiver, made a phenomenal catch, made multiple moves for yards after the catch, was going for the end zone, decides to do a celebration early and fumbles the ball into the back of the end zone. Turnover on downs, no points. You go from 7 points for the Colts to Rams get the ball at the 20-yard line. You haven't scored anything. Complete momentum changer. There was also a holding call that really A.D. Mitchell was holding on a huge touchdown run from Jonathan Taylor that got called back. This game will be remembered in Colts lore as the A.D. Mitchell game, and that sucks because this game was actually really cool, and it was an awesome game. I thought the Colts played a lot better. Looking at the numbers, though, let's look at the chart here. The Rams ended up beating the Colts 27-20, and maybe that's kind of what this chart shows. LA was actually a lot more successful. They had a higher success rate, almost 8% more. And that said, this is kind of just insane. The way that this team is is playing in this Colts team, I really like them. And that said, the Rams, you got to give them their flowers. They are playing complimentary football on every side of the ball. They're playing well. The other graph I want to show you guys is I got two more for specifically the Rams. These are both Puka Nacua. We're going to go back to that other chart with Jaxson Smith-Njigba. The three people are above Jaxson Smith-Njigba, and that's Randy Moss in 2007, Deshaun Jackson in 2018, and Puka Nacua in 2025. Puka Nacua has around 120 routes for 49 targets. He is averaging 4.19 yards per route. I mean, it's absolutely insane. Puka Nacua is on a different level right now. And another chart that I just want to show is the way that this offense is set up. I mean, I'll put this on the screen here. Puka Nacua, it has, if you look at the target share, how many targets each receiver is getting it, and put it into a percentage of of all of the targets on the team, Puka Nacua is getting 37.6%. It's by far the most of anyone. I guess not that much further, but I mean, the other two people are Garrett Wilson and Jaxson Smith-Njigba. And so it's, they're getting targeted over and over again. The crazy part of this statistic for me is the next person is Davante Adams at 26.3. So between Puka Nacua and Davante Adams, they are taking up almost 65% of the targets. I mean, Matthew Stafford is not really looking anywhere else. The next closest on the team is Kyren Williams with 8.3%. This team runs through Puka Nacua and Davante Adams, and it works because they're good. They're so good. They have yards after catch. They catch the ball really well. They are good in contested catch situations. They can get open. This Rams offense is really good. That said, I really like this Colts team too. And at the end of the episode, we're going to do some power rankings. You'll see where Matthew and I put them after this game. This is two very good teams. Next up, I've got the Eagles and the Bucs. The Eagles, coming into this game, go back and watch the Matthew R. Scott Sports Show and listen to our review of this game, because we came into this game saying which of these teams are a fraud. I mean, the Bucs have beat two 0-3 teams and a 1-2 team, all of which had to have fantastic game-winning drives at the end of the game to win the game. And this Eagles team seems like they just, in every statistic, are bottom of the league, and yet are 4-0 against good teams like the Bucs and the Rams, and like who is bluffing here? And coming out of this game, it feels like they're both still bluffing. I don't know what to take away from this game. Jalen Hurts had 0 completions in the second half. No passes were caught in the second half by this Eagles team, and they ended up winning 31-25. The Eagles' special teams, I think, has won them multiple games at this point. The Eagles had a punt block returned for a touchdown at the very beginning of the game. On the opening drive, the Bucs are stalled. They punted away, blocked, returned for a touchdown. Eagles go up 7-0 without having their offense on the field whatsoever. It's just nuts because, I mean, A.J. Brown had 7 yards of receiving in this game. Saquon Barkley averaged 2.3 yards per carry. Both of those are really low. Like, those are bad numbers. You would think that this is a losing effort, and yet somehow the Eagles scored 31 points. Somehow, I don't understand either of these teams. The graph that I want to show you is the 3-and-out rate through week 4. This is how often offenses just go 3-and-out. They run 3 plays, get to 4th down, they have to punt it away. They don't even get a first down on their drive. And guess who leads the league in 3-and-out rate through 4 weeks? It's the Philadelphia Eagles, the 4-2 4-0 Philadelphia Eagles are at they're at a 46%, like almost 50% of the time they're going 3 and out, and they're 4-0. I do not understand this team. The offense looks terrible. The defense looks good, decent, but I don't get it. This team is a mystery wrapped in an enigma for me. I don't know what to think of these teams, and you got to put them in the power rankings somewhere. You'll see where Matthew and I put those, so whatever. Next up, we've got the Chargers and the Giants. This game was actually super fun to watch. Unfortunately, there were a few injuries that kind of hindered the amazingness of this game at the end. That said, Jaxson Dart makes his rookie debut, and he looks pretty good, honestly. I mean, it's nothing special. He passed for a touchdown, ran for a touchdown. I mean, the kid looked good. Cam Scatabo played his heart out again. I mean, this combo is so fun to watch. Somehow the Giants beat the Chargers, and that somehow is pretty self-explanatory, actually. This Chargers offensive line was getting mauled all game. This Giants defensive line was wrecking havoc on the Chargers offense. A big part of that is Joe Alt went out with a high ankle sprain. High ankle sprain, it looks pretty bad. He's going to be out for probably at least a few weeks. And his backup, Austin Daculis, or whatever his name is, allowed 6 pressures. It's versus Joe Alt, who allowed 0. I mean, the Giants' defensive line was getting home all day. Justin Herbert had no time to throw. And, I mean, the Chargers' offense was running the ball really well. Amarian Hampton looked really awesome. It's just that's not what this team has been so far this year. And it's not what we've come to almost expect the last 3 weeks. It just was pretty interesting. The other injury, the big injury that come out of this game was Malik Neighbors on a non-contact play towards ACL. MetLife Stadium is infamous in creating injuries out of nothing. And it is infuriating to have so many star players who have season-ending and career-ending injuries on this field. It's the same field. It's over and over again. I mean, it's absolutely nuts that we still have turf at MetLife Stadium with a league that makes billions and billions of dollars. We can't find a way to give that field some actual grass to play in. It's insane. Now, I'll give the Giants their credit. I still think the Chargers are a better team than the Giants. It just happened to be that this Giants defensive line ended up playing really well against a beat-up Chargers O-line. That said, the thing I wanted to show was actually the defensive EPA and success rate of this Chargers team. I'll show you this here. The Chargers defense, their success rate is about 40%, and their defensive EPA per play is about -7, -8, which essentially means that it's a really, really good defense. This Chargers defense is probably a top 5 defense when it comes to EPA per play and defensive success rate. Again, EPA per play, expected points added. That's just how many points you're expected to get. For defense, you're actually looking for a minus because it's points for the opposite team. So the defensive EPA per play, every play essentially, because they're at minus 0.8, essentially it's saying that the Chargers defense on a certain play, the opposing offense is expected to get this many points, and every play the Chargers are taking off 0.8 points off of the board that should be expected. It's a very good defense. and their success rate is second best in the league. They look so good on defense. And that said, the Giants made something happen, made it work. I don't know if it's sustainable, but it was a fun game to watch nonetheless, and I'm cheering for the Utah kid, Jackson Dart. Moving on, we've got the Steelers and the Vikings. I picked the Steelers to win this game. I wasn't super confident with it, though. The main thing that I took out of this game was that this Vikings offensive line, like I was saying 2 weeks ago, is terrible. And this is the game that I was expecting the Vikings and Bengals to play last week, where you've got a beat-up Vikings line, and on the other side, you've got Trey Hendrickson and a decent Bengals defensive line who are going to be able to get to the quarterback, and Jake Browning's going to be able to do enough against a Brian Flores phenomenal defense in the Vikings to be able to win the game. That's exactly what played out here. I just expected it a week early, I guess. That said, it actually wasn't as close as I thought it was. If we look at the net success rate again, going back to this graph, we're going to refer to this a few different times. The Steelers were at 15% net success rate, which means they were 15% more successful than the Vikings. That's actually pretty big. I mean, it was the biggest blowout in successful plays, and it didn't seem like it. I mean, the Steelers only beat the Vikings 24-21. Of course, this game took place in Ireland. It was a pretty pro Steelers crowd, terrible towels everywhere. This game looked like it was going to be coming down to, it was basically a Steelers home game. That said, I mean, this is a decent Steelers team, and Aaron Rodgers has played very well against the Vikings in his career. He's played very well against Brian Flores. I like this Steelers team. I don't know how far they're going to be able to go in the playoffs or whatever. That said, it is what it is. This team is a good team. The other thing that I wanted to show was the 3-and-out rate. We're going to go back to that chart that we showed you with the Eagles, who are worst in 3-and-out rate. The second worst team, the Minnesota Vikings. This offense is really, really tough to watch, and they are riding on a phenomenal defense. It's not sustainable. They've got to, at some point, go against a really good offense and a bad defense, and I think that's what's going to get the Vikings wins. That said, or a really bad offense, then they can create turnovers for, such as playing the Bengals. That said, I think the Steelers completely outplayed the Vikings in this game, and the score is actually not very indicative of how close this game should have been. So next we've got the Jaguars and the 49ers. The Jaguars are 3-1. I wasn't expecting that. I didn't see that coming up. Jacksonville ended up winning 26-21. A few crazy things on this game. Another game having 3 or more takeaways. This is 4 games in a row of having 3 takeaways. They're averaging 3 takeaways a game with this Jacksonville defense. Anthony Campanelli, the former Packers linebacker coach, is coaching out of his mind. This Jags defense is very good. If we go to the Jags defensive EPA per play and a success rate, top 5. They're right up there with the likes of the Vikings, the Chargers, the Texans, the Lions. Like, this is a very, very, very good defense. And I didn't really see that coming into this game, and yet they're there, man. That said, 49ers have just way too many turnovers to make this game actually work for them. Jags defense won them this game. The Jags offense is still mid, still struggling, still trying to figure some things out. That said, this 49ers team suffered a few injuries. Ricky Pearsall is injured. Brock Purdy is injured. Juwan Jennings is injured. Like they suffered a lot of injuries in this game, and I wouldn't be surprised to see the Niners not even make the playoffs, even with the easiest schedule in the league since 2000 and whatever. It's the Seahawks and Rams are playing too well, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Jaguars and Colts because they're both 3-1 at this point. The Colts look like a much better team all around. That said, this Jaguars defense, man, if it keeps playing like this, it'll win them a lot of games. And I mean, the Jaguars and Vikings are in a similar spot, but I trust the Jaguars offense a little bit more than the Vikings offense at this point. And so I like this Jaguars team a decent amount. Moving on, we've got the Falcons and the Commanders. This Falcons team is underrated. Of course, they lost 0-30 against one of the worst teams in the league in the Panthers. You can't have that happening if you want to be taken seriously. That said, this Falcons team has pieces all over the place on offense and defense. They've got a phenomenal defensive line. They've got a decent secondary. They've got a phenomenal wide receiver core, or not just pass offensive core in Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson. But they've got players. They've got talent. This Falcons team should be playing very well. And if we look at the offensive 3-and-out rate, they are playing very well. They're the fourth best in not going 3-and-out. I mean, they are a pretty good offense. And yet, for some reason, there's turnovers. There's all sorts of things that are just weird with this team. They feel cursed. And yet, they get the win against a Jaden Daniels-less Commanders team, 34-27. This Commanders team looks somewhat lost. I don't know what to think of this team quite yet. Jaden Daniels being out seemed to not really affect anything last week, and they still put up 27 points this week. It just doesn't. I don't know who this Commanders team is. They don't feel like they've got an identity to me. And Terry McLaurin was also out. They had a lot of pieces missing here. That said, Michael Penix he's a good quarterback. And if you scheme up everything correctly to where the defense doesn't know exactly what you're doing on every single play, this team can do a lot on offense. This is the first game where Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and Bijan Robinson all scored in the same game together, which is kind of nuts. I mean, they've been together for like a year and a half, because Robinson was last year, wasn't he? Yeah. Anyway, this is a good team, and I don't know if I can pick them to make the playoffs or win the division, especially with the Bucs playing the way that they are. But it's a good team, man. They're underrated. Penix is underrated. Patriots ended up pouncing on the Panthers. The Panthers just laid down and died after going 30-0 in Atlanta last week. Patriots ended up winning 42-14. It was 42-7 at one point. The 14 just was in garbage time. Patriots should be 3-1. I mean, they had 5 turnovers against the Steelers and only lost by a touchdown. And it just is absolutely insane that this Patriots team is actually down where they are in the way that people think about them. That said, Drake May is a dog, dude. Drake May is playing out of his mind. If you look at quarterback efficiency, especially for EPA per pass attempt, I'm going to just put that up on the screen here. Who leads the league in EPA per pass attempt? It is Drake May at 6.8, 6.9. Drake May leads the league through the first 4 weeks in EPA per pass attempt. Drake May's been phenomenal. And the Patriots run game showed up today. Like they played very well. They played complimentary football. The defense played well. Christian Gonzalez looks like a really good cornerback again after coming back from so many different injuries. The Panthers were up 7-0 at one point, and a punt return just absolutely killed the Panthers' momentum. Special teams, defense, offense, passing game, running game, everything is working together on this Patriots team. I don't know how much you can really put into this game because it is against the Panthers. That said, if you look at the net success rate, this is what I'm talking about. If you look at the net success rate, and I'll put that up on the screen here, the Patriots are, what? Negative 8%? That means the Panthers were 8% better than the Patriots play-by-play in net success rate. The score didn't match this. Nothing matched what this says. So that means that there must have been so many other issues with this Panthers team. And that you can kind of see as you watch the game. This Panthers team is better than the score recommends, but they are not a good team. The Patriots are a worse team than this score recommends, but they are a decent team. I don't expect that much more from this Patriots team. I think this game is a little bit of a blip. That said, that success rate is kind of interesting to me that the Panthers actually quite clearly played the Patriots, and yet the Patriots are 42-14. So that crazy to me. I don't understand that. Moving on, we've got the Bears and the Raiders. This game, the Raiders clearly outplayed the Bears. I mean, it wasn't even close. Any statistic you look at, it looks like the Raiders played better. And yet the Bears win 25-24. And that was on a blocked field goal. Raiders get into field goal range, are ready to kick the game winner, and it's blocked. Game over. Bears win 25-24. That said, this game was a turnover fest for both teams. Both teams could not stop saying, no, you have it, no, you have it, no, you have it. Like, this was a messy game to watch. Max Crosby made Caleb Williams fumble the ball just by looking at him mean, Like, Caleb Williams like, oh, no, let me drop the ball and have to go land on it. Like, Max Crosby was absolutely crazy good in this game. Ashton Genty went off, and, I mean, you could kind of see that coming against this Bears run defense, but man, Ashton Genty looked so good. This is the Ashton Genty that we were expecting coming out of college. This is why you draft him at the 6th overall pick. This is what we were expecting. That said, this game was lost because of too many turnovers and mostly just interceptions thrown by Geno Smith. On plays that he wasn't really pressured, he just didn't make the right read. He threw it into tight coverage. Like he looked like Jets Geno and not Seahawks Geno. And they signed him. They brought him over and signed him to be Seahawks Geno. So, that said, I mean, we'll show you the net success rate. This one's even worse than the Panthers Patriots. The Bears had a negative 12% net success rate. I mean, they were clearly the worst team, and yet the Raiders ended up losing. And that's just turnovers. It's a blocked field goal. There's so many things that go into that, and the Raiders are going to look back at this game and say, man, this is a game that we absolutely should have won. And the Bears are going to look back at the game and say, man, we did not play very well. And by the way, the Bears haven't played very well all year. And yet, they're looking okay. They're 2-2. Like, they're in the division race. I just don't think that, again, the outcome of this game isn't what this game was. It's not who these teams are. I think the Raiders played above their ceiling. I think the Bears played about where they should be playing right now, and Raiders should have won. Didn't end up happening. Moving on, we've got the Texans and the Titans. This game was 6-0 at the beginning of the fourth quarter. The Texans were only winning by 6. I mean, this is the worst team in the league in the Titans. And the Texans, who are supposed to be a playoff contender, is only leading 6-0 in the fourth quarter. It's absolutely crazy. It's the first time the Titans have been shut out in 14 years. That said, I want to go over 3 things. This Titans team is the worst fourth quarter team in point differential dating back to week 1 of last season. So between week 1 of last season to now, the last 4 weeks, the Titans have scored tremendously less points in the fourth quarter than their opponent. So much so that it's the worst stretch since the week 1 of last year. They are a very bad team. Every metric says they're bad on offense and defense. On the Texans side, Woody Marks, the rookie running back, everyone's been waiting to trying to get him in the game and see what he looks like. He went off today. He had 17 carries for 69 yards. He had 4 receptions for 59 receiving yards. He played really well. If he's in your league, I would, maybe pick him up. He looks decent, and the Texans desperately need that. I mean, if we take a look at our offensive EPA per play, look at where the Titans are. They are in negative offensive EPA per play. They're at like -7, and their offensive success rate is 39%. They're in the bottom 5 in success rate, and they're in the bottom 10 in offensive EPA per play. Their offense is playing terribly. It is such a bad offense. And if you switch over to the defensive EPA per play, and you'll see that here, the Texans are top 5. Top 5 in both categories. They're they are probably 5th or 6th, somewhere between 4th and 6th on defensive success rate, and they are 2nd in defensive EPA per play. This is a top 5 defense and a bottom 7 offense on the same team. It is very, very bad. And I mean, the Vikings offense is looking better. The Falcons offense is looking better. This Texans offense is not good, and it should be. A big part of that is their offensive line that's really young, inexperienced. They've played terribly. But, sheesh, dude. This team was hoping to make the playoffs. They've won playoff games the last 2 years. And yet, they don't look like a contender. They don't look good. I mean, the defense obviously is one of the best in the league, but it's a team game. Can't just win on a defense. That said, moving on, we've got the Lions and the Browns. The Browns played pretty close a lot of this game. And if you look at the stats, it says that. But, I mean, the thing is, the Browns had 3 turnovers and a missed field goal and a punt return touchdown. A punt that was returned for a touchdown. Like, just too many mistakes. I mean, that said, 3 turnovers, a missed field goal, and a punt return for a touchdown, and you only lose by 24. That defense is still good, by the way. I mean, looking at the defensive EPA per play, they are top 5 in success rate. They are absolutely a top 10 defense. The offense, on the other hand, is one of the worst in the entire. It is the worst offense in the league. Worse than the Titans, worse than the Bengals, worse than the Texans, which we just talked about. Like this Browns offense is absolutely terrible. Hopefully it improves a little bit at least with Dylan Gabriel coming in. I don't have a ton of hope for that though. This score really does tell you what this game was. And 34-10, Lions ended up they were just a better team in every aspect of the game. At one point, the Browns led a really long drive for a touchdown, and it just from there it pittered out. That Browns team is just not very good. That said, if we look at Myles Garrett specifically, he is double teamed more than anyone in the league. The only people who are close are Micah Parsons and TJ Watt. Followed by quite a bit farther back, Aiden Hutchinson, and a little bit further back from him, Mikael Williams on the 49ers. But, I mean, it's far and away Myles Garrett. He's double teamed all the freaking time. Over 65% of his pass rushes are he's getting double teamed. And yet, his pressure percentage is above 20%. There's only 5 other people who are above 20%. and one of them is Micah Parsons. Again, phenomenal player. Looking at this chart, there's 3 names that stand out to me. Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons, and Nick Bonito of the Broncos. We'll get to him a little bit later. That said, Myles Garrett is so good. The other thing I wanted to look at is just the Lions' defensive success rate. You can see that they're literally number 1 in defensive success rate. They're 5th in defensive EPA per play. This defense looks really, really, really good. And it's not something that we have seen from this Lions team. Last year, there were just so many injuries. And this is what we expected this Lions defense to look like last year. And now it's come to fruition, even after Aaron Glenn has left. So props to the coaching staff, props to the players, props to the entire organization to get this defense to where they were expecting it to be. All right, last few games here. Saints and the Bills. This is our last game before our primetime games. The Saints played the Bills pretty close, actually. I mean, the Bills only won 31-21, and they were only put away near the end. The Saints led 21-19 at one point. I mean, it was decently close. The defense played really well for most of the game. I mean, held the Bills to 19 points at one point, and the offense did enough to have a lead against the best team in the league. The Bills have played 2 close games against the Dolphins and the Saints. Is that concerning? I can't really tell. They're still 4-0. You can play a C game and still come out on top. That just means you're a good team. That said, the Bills' net success rate versus the Saints tells a similar story. You look at the net success rate, yeah, Bills just a little bit better than the Saints. Teams that played a lot better, Lions, Broncos, Steelers, like all these teams played way better than their opponent. The Bills playing against the Saints, kind of middle of the pack. They were pretty even teams. That feels nuts to me. That said, I mean, this is still not a great Saints team. I like this team. I like what they're building. I like the vision. They're playing hard. I like Kellen Moore. That said, it's the Bills versus the Saints, man. It's our number 1 team versus our number 31 team. This is the outcome, more or less, that we expected. I mean, the spread was 16.5, and they only won by 10. I mean, it wasn't even close to covering the spread, and I thought the Bills would cover. So give the Saints team credit for fighting it out. Give this Bills team credit for winning the game. Next up, we've got Sunday Night Football. This game, as a Packers fan, sucked. Coming into this game, the Packers defense was, numbers-wise, the best defense in the league. Least yards allowed besides the Browns. We had the least points allowed in the entire in the league. I mean, this defense was phenomenal. It was so good. And we're going into against a Cowboys team that is one of the worst defenses in the league. I mean, if we take a look at the defensive EPA per play, they are down there with the Dolphins as the two worst defenses in the entire league. The Bears just put up 31 last week. This is a team that we should have easily beat, and yet we go in there, and neither defense can stop anything. Both offenses have answers for every single thing. It's the two highest EPA offenses all year. The Cowboys against the Packers defense in this game, and the Packers against the Cowboys defense in this game. Two best offenses in EPA all year so far. At one point, right before halftime, it was 13-2. How did 2? Oh, there was a safety. Nope. It was a blocked extra point returned for a 2-point conversion for the Cowboys. That ended up looming for pretty much the entire game. The entire game, we were down by 3. The Packers were down by 3, and they had the same number of touchdowns as the Cowboys, same number of field goals as the Cowboys, and yet they're down by 3 because of a 3-point swing on an extra point that should be rigmarole. It wasn't just that either. I mean, it was this whole special teams for the Packers that really made this game close. Every single punt return, every single kickoff return, it was returned really well from the Cowboys. And every time the Packers were going to return one, it would land on the 1-yard line and bounce into the end zone, and we start on the 20. I mean, the Cowboys started on the 40-yard line, and the Packers started on the 20-yard line every single drive. And you can't expect to have good things come of that if you're a Packers fan. That said, Jordan Love is so good. He is a phenomenal quarterback. If you look at EPA per play and PFF offensive grade, I'm going to put that up here. Love is top 5 in offensive grade, and he's number 1 in EPA per play. Jordan Love is an elite quarterback. I'll say it. He's an elite quarterback. He's playing out of his mind. If you look at first read rate and EPA per pass attempt, not just EPA per play, EPA per pass attempt, he's second in the league, just behind Drake May. And Jordan Love is a good quarterback. He is a very good quarterback. And I don't see what everyone else is missing. He has less weapons because everyone's like, oh, they don't have a wide receiver 1. And if you look at the target shares, which we were looking at with Jaxson Smith-Njigba, Garrett Wilson, Puka Nacua, you know who has the most amount of variety, or second most amount of variety, is the Green Bay Packers. They have so many different places to go with the ball who are not names that everyone knows. They're just guys. And Jordan Love's making it work. The run game is pretty good. Josh Jacobs, awesome running back. It's not like he's not Jonathan Taylor. He's not Saquon Barkley. This is a Packers offense that is a very good offense, and it's because of Jordan Love. And people don't give him the credit for that. He threw a bad interception against a phenomenal Browns defense last week, and so many people talked about that interception. Maybe Jordan Love's not the guy. Same issues, and yet he's missing his his number 1 wide receiver in Christian Watson, his number 2 wide receiver in Jayden Reed. Maybe you say Dobbs is number 2. Then he's missing his number 3. He's missing wide receivers. He's missing his starting right tackle, his starting left guard. Like, there are so many pieces with this team that are missing, and yet Jordan Love's making it work. They scored 37 if you don't include overtime on this team. Back and forth in the biggest of all spots. 4 drives that took them down the field to tie or win the game over and over and over again just in the fourth quarter. Jordan Love is good. I don't want to hear people saying, I don't know if I can put him in top 10. I just need to see more. No, he's good. He's very good. He's a top 5 quarterback. If you don't think he is, then you're not looking at the stats. You're not looking at the numbers, because in every metric, he's good. And you can say, but he's not. I don't even know what you even say to keep him out of the top 5. Oh, well, I've got to put, Lamar Jackson in there. I understand that. I've got to put Jared Goff in there. That one seems a little bit iffy to me. I mean, you talk about the talent around Goff versus the talent around Love. 2 different worlds to me. I do not understand keeping Jordan Love out of the top 5. And until someone gives me a statistic or someone shows me why he's not there, I don't see it. I mean, Justin Herbert threw 2 interceptions against the Giants today, and you know what? We heard nothing. We don't hear, Justin Herbert, yeah, maybe he's not the guy. Like, I don't know about this guy, Justin Herbert. Same draft. And yet, not a peep about Justin Herbert playing poorly. It was, the team failed. Oh, well, he had all these issues. Oh, well, he's missing his, Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater. Completely fair. Guess what? Jordan Love's missing 2 phenomenal starting offensive linemen as well, and his 2 best wide receivers, and he's getting it, he's still playing well. Somehow he doesn't get the excuses. Somehow people don't see past the 1 interception he's had in 10 games. I don't understand it. Rant over. That said, this game sucked. Packers fans were expecting this to be a blowout. Ending in a 40-40 tie is a loss for everyone, but it's a loss for Packers more than anything. This is a game that should have been a win. Now, moving on to 2 Monday Night Football games, the Monday Night doubleheader. I'm not going to talk about either of these games very much. These were 2 games that no one was excited to watch. I am going to bring up the net success rate. You might have seen this earlier. The Dolphins were minus 19 in net success rate. This Jets team thoroughly outplayed the Dolphins. And the Jets hurt themselves, but more than anything, I think the refs hurt the Jets. This Jets team could not catch a break from the refs, and it's so frustrating that it felt so one-sided the entire game. I don't really know what else to say about this game. The Jets played decently. They did what they should have been able to do to win. Multiple touchdowns called back because of penalties that weren't there. Multiple penalties that should have been called on Dolphins drives that would have ended the drive, and somehow the Dolphins get points out of it because the refs don't call stuff like it. This game was decided by the refs, in my opinion. If you look at how much the refs affected this game and how the teams played, the Jets should have won this game. That said, I picked the Dolphins. I thought the Dolphins were going to be a better team. In my opinion, they were not. The Dolphins ended up winning. That's all I really want to say on this game. The next one was the Broncos-Bengals. This was a blowout. Kind of expected it. Bengals lose 3-28. Broncos put up 28-3 on this really bad Bengals team. The Broncos had 512 yards. 512. That's a lot. The Bengals had 159. 512-59. I mean, it was a blowout. And it wasn't even a fun blowout to really watch unless you're a Broncos fan. There were 18 penalties accepted between the 2 teams for over 130 yards. I mean, there was no momentum to the game. It seemed to go on forever. Part of that was probably the fact that we started watching football in Ireland at like 6 a.m. this morning and didn't even finish watching this game until like 10. But that said, this Bengals team had more penalties, 12 penalties, more penalties than first downs. They had 9 first downs. 12 penalties, 9 first downs. That essentially explains what this Bengals team was today. That said, I'm going to go back to this chart here with the double teams versus double team percentage versus pressure percentage. Nick Benito, pressure percentage far, far, far above anyone else. Everyone else is like, I think Micah Parsons is second, and he's at 22 with Jonathan Cooper, Baron Browning, Will Anderson Jr., Michael Garrett. They're all somewhere between like 20, 22. Nick Benito is up there close to 30%. It's not even close. Nick Benito is so good. This Broncos defense is so good. It's a good team. This is a very good team. They are 2-2. They should be probably 3-1, and tied with the Chargers for the NFC. They could be 4-0, and we're completely talking differently about who this team is. That said, I love this Broncos team's a fun team. They've got a good defense, a good offense. They've got to still figure out some run game stuff on offense. But that said, I like this team a lot. So, now, I have been talking for quite a bit longer than I would have liked to. So you know what I'm going to do? We're gonna do power rankings in a separate episode. Maybe I'll even do it with Matthew R. Scott. We'll see. That said, we're just going to end it here. This is the Week 4 recap. Thank you all for joining me. I appreciate you guys checking out the pod, checking out the YouTube. Again, check out the YouTube if you want to see the visual of all of these graphs. I will make sure that those are on the screen so you guys can actually see what I'm talking about. That said, thank you for joining me today, and we'll see you next time. Bye.